They lived in mansions, drove Lamborghinis, and made more in a week than most make in a year. But today, some are broke, forgotten, or even homeless. These are the tragic stories of footballers who lost it all. You will see at the end of this video, even a £100 million contract doesn't guarantee financial security. Arne Riise, a Champions League winner, FA Cup winner, and one of Liverpool's most iconic fullbacks, with 348 appearances for the Reds and 110 caps for Norway. Arne Riise had a career many dream of. At his peak, he earned £50,000 a week, playing at the top level for years. But in 2007, the shock came. Riise was declared bankrupt. He reportedly owed around £100,000 in unpaid debts in Norway. His name was even published on the UK Insolvency Service website under the section titled "Currently Bankrupt," a stunning fall for a player of his stature. The issue wasn't just the debt, but how he got there. Riise made poor financial decisions and trusted the wrong people. He became involved in failed investments and ended up in a legal battle with his agent, who mismanaged large sums of his money. To make things worse, he went through a messy divorce. His ex-wife claimed he had emptied their child's bank account, leading to more financial and legal drama. Riise later admitted in an interview, "When I was a footballer, the clubs did everything for me. I didn't know how to handle bills or manage money." To his credit, he didn't give up. Riise slowly rebuilt his life. He now works in Norway as a coach and TV pundit, and has found some financial stability. Still, his story remains a reminder of how even football stars can lose it all if they're not prepared for life off the pitch. Celestine Babayaro. In the early 2000s, the name Celestine Babayaro brought back fun memories. The Nigerian left-back was electric, fast on his feet and solid in defense. He was part of Chelsea's Riise and had already won Olympic gold with Nigeria in 1996. At his peak, Babayaro earned around £25,000 a week, more than enough to build a secure future. But somehow, he lost it all. In 2011, he was officially declared bankrupt by a London court. His name appeared alongside ordinary people in the Gazette, a shocking fall for a former Premier League star. Despite his high wages, Babayaro made poor financial decisions. He built up large debts and owned a £475,000 house in Middlesex. But over time, neighbors noticed the property falling apart, the garden overgrown, the conservatory collapsing, and the house showing serious signs of neglect. At one point, he even asked a neighbor to borrow their lawnmower. It's a sad sight. Once a player who stood among Chelsea's best, now struggling to maintain basic living standards. Babayaro's story is heartbreaking. He played at the highest level, earned top wages, and lived a life many dreamed of. But without careful planning, it all slipped away. His journey is more than football. It's a warning about life after the final whistle. David James. Over a 26-year career, David James became a Premier League icon. He played for top clubs like Liverpool, Aston Villa, West Ham, and Manchester City. As England's first-choice goalkeeper, he earned 53 caps and featured in multiple major tournaments. At his peak, he was earning £50,000 a week, living the life of a top-level footballer. But in 2014, everything changed. David James was declared bankrupt. Unlike others who lost fortunes through wild spending, James's story was different. His financial troubles began after a messy divorce in 2005. The legal fees, combined with poor financial planning, led him into serious debt. The situation became so bad that James was forced to auction off over 150 items, including match-worn shirts, England caps, and even his personal DJ equipment, just to stay afloat. But like Arne Riise, he didn't give up. James slowly rebuilt his life. He now works as a coach, TV pundit, and has even appeared in reality shows. While his finances may have taken a hit, his football legacy remains untouched, a respected figure in English football history. And if you thought the stories of Babayaro, Riise, and James were shocking, wait until you hear what happened to Emmanuel Eboue. Emmanuel Eboue's story is one of the most heartbreaking in football. A fan favorite at Arsenal, he was loved for his tireless energy and charisma. He played in the Champions League final for the Gunners, which earned him a big-money move to Galatasaray. At his peak, Eboue earned millions in wages. But just a few years later, his life completely crumbled. In 2017, following a messy divorce, he lost everything to his ex-wife. His cars, houses, and bank accounts were all gone. At one point, Eboue was reportedly homeless, sleeping on a friend's couch to survive. But money wasn't his only problem. Eboue admitted he had little financial education and had trusted the wrong people to handle his affairs. In one interview, he said, "I didn't listen. I trusted the wrong people. Now I have nothing." The world was shocked. How could a former Premier League star fall so far? Later, Eboue claimed some of those reports were exaggerated. He returned to Ivory Coast, got remarried, and began rebuilding his life. He also set up a football academy to help local youth and share his story, hoping to teach them about money, trust, and the importance of planning for life after football. Eboue's fall and slow recovery is a powerful reminder. Fame doesn't last forever, and without guidance, even the brightest careers can fade into hardship. But in his efforts to rise again, he's showing that redemption is always possible. Ronaldinho. At his peak, Ronaldinho was pure magic. Every touch was art. He won the Ballon d'Or, the 2002 World Cup, and brought joy to millions with his smile and dazzling footwork. Earning over £100,000 a week at Barcelona and millions more from Nike, he seemed untouchable. But in 2018, a shocking report claimed Ronaldinho had just £5 in his bank account. How could one of football's biggest stars lose it all? The answer: reckless spending and failed investments. Ronaldinho didn't just love football, he loved the high life. His fortune went into luxury cars, wild parties, and doomed business ventures. He invested heavily in a Brazilian esports team, an organic drinks brand, and even launched a music career, all with little return. Then came the legal troubles. In 2019, Brazilian authorities seized 57 of his properties over unpaid debts and environmental fines. His Brazilian and Spanish passports were confiscated, leaving him grounded in his home country. Things got worse. In 2020, Ronaldinho and his brother were arrested in Paraguay, caught entering the country with fake passports. A World Cup winner sitting in a Paraguayan jail. It stunned the football world. After paying a $90,000 fine, he was released and began trying to rebuild his life. Today, Ronaldinho is slowly recovering financially, appearing in sponsor events and media gigs. But his story remains a powerful warning. Even for global superstars, fame and fortune can disappear fast without discipline and control. Ronaldinho's fall is a reminder: talent can't protect you from poor choices. When Manchester United signed Djemba-Djemba in 2003 as the next Roy Keane, big things were expected. United paid £3.5 million to bring the Cameroonian midfielder from Nantes, hoping he'd anchor their midfield for years. But it didn't go as planned. His erratic performances and reckless tackles turned him from a rising star into a squad liability. By 2005, he was sold to Aston Villa for a fraction of the price. But the real downfall happened off the pitch. Despite earning thousands per week, Djemba-Djemba was declared bankrupt just 4 years after leaving United. Reports said he owned over 30 cars, multiple houses across different countries, and handed out large sums of cash to friends and family. By the time he noticed his money was disappearing, it was too late. He spent the rest of his career bouncing between clubs in Qatar, Israel, Denmark, India, and Dubai, but never rediscovered the form that brought him to Old Trafford. Looking back, he admitted, "I made mistakes. I trusted the wrong people. Things didn't go well." In time, Djemba-Djemba found a new purpose. He began working with young players across Africa, educating them on financial discipline and the dangers of reckless spending. His story is a cautionary tale: a player who reached the top, lost it all, but chose to turn his mistakes into a message for the next generation. Asamoah Gyan wasn't just a footballer, he was a Ghanaian hero, the country's all-time top scorer, a 2010 World Cup icon, and once one of the highest-paid players in world football. At his peak, he earned a staggering £227,000 per week in China. But in 2018, the football world was stunned when Gyan claimed he had just £600 left in his bank account. What went wrong? His downfall was the result of a messy mix: family disputes, unpaid wages, and a brutal divorce. After leaving Sunderland, Gyan moved to Al Ain in the UAE, then Shanghai SCPG, where the money flowed. But as his career declined, the problems began. He went unpaid during a spell in Turkey, and then came a damaging legal fight. Gyan filed for divorce from his wife, Gifty, even requesting a DNA test to verify the paternity of their children. The court ruled against him, confirming the children were his, and the consequences were costly. He was ordered to give up 2 luxury homes, 2 cars, and even a petrol station to his ex-wife. On top of that, he was told to pay £1,300 per month in child support. At one point, he admitted he couldn't even afford to fly his kids to Ghana for testing. This from a man who once drove a gold-plated Rolls-Royce and lived in a £2.4 million mansion. Despite everything, Gyan has fought to rebuild. He's revived business ventures and remains a respected name in Ghanaian football. His story is proof you can have it all and still lose it all. Adriano. He was called the Emperor, a beast of a striker and left foot like a hammer. At just 22, Adriano was scoring screamers for Inter Milan and terrorizing Europe. He had the power of Ronaldo, the flair of Ronaldinho, and the swagger of a king. Adriano had it all. He was Brazil's weapon, Europe's nightmare, and a fan favorite across continents. In 2004, his father died, the man who kept him grounded. Adriano said, "A part of me died that day," and it showed. He stopped training, started drinking, missed trainings, and lost discipline. Started disappearing. Inter Milan tried to hide it. They called it injuries. But the truth? Adriano was falling apart. By 2005, he was worth over $10 million, had endorsement deals, cars, women, parties, everything. But behind that smile and behind the goals and glory was a broken soul. In 2009, he returned to Brazil. A last chance. Flamengo, Corinthians. But he was only half the man he used to be. The goals stopped, but the partying didn't. Adriano reportedly spent millions on alcohol, gifts, hangers-on, and private security. Worse, he once bought 10 cars in 1 month and gave away houses to friends. There was no financial control, no one telling him no. At his peak, he earned over $10 million in a year. Today, Adriano is said to live a modest life in the favelas of Rio, often spotted riding a scooter or walking without bodyguards. No luxury, just Adriano, alone, broke yet free. From Inter Milan's throne to the gritty streets of Brazil, Adriano didn't lose his career because of football. He lost it because of grief, and no one was there to catch him. The Emperor was no longer a king. He was a prisoner of his own pain. Wesley Sneijder. At his peak, Wesley Sneijder was pure magic, a midfield maestro with vision, passing, and a deadly shot. He won league titles with Ajax, Real Madrid, and Inter Milan. But it was in 2010 that he touched greatness, winning a historic treble with Inter and leading the Netherlands to the World Cup final. Many believed he should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. He was rich, famous, and adored across the football world. But then came the shock. Years after retirement, Sneijder revealed he had blown through nearly 100 million euros. A player who earned fortune after fortune had little left to show for it. Fans were stunned. How could someone so successful lose it all? The answer: reckless spending and excess. Sneijder admitted he lived like a king. Expensive sports cars, lavish parties, high-end alcohol, designer clothes. He wanted everything, and he wanted it now. He also poured money into business ventures that flopped and never really tracked where it all went. He once said, "My life was one big party." But the party came at a cost. Though he didn't face prison or legal battles, the financial damage was done. His wealth vanished quietly, not with lawsuits, but with years of unchecked luxury. Behind the scenes, his empire crumbled. Today, Wesley Sneijder is a different man. He stepped away from the wild lifestyle and is focusing on peace, family, and football charity work. He admits his mistakes and is trying to rebuild slowly and honestly. His journey is a lesson. Even the most brilliant football minds can be defeated by life off the pitch. Fame fades, money runs out, but the choices, they last forever. Diego Maradona was a football god. In 1986, he led Argentina to World Cup glory, scoring the legendary hand of God and the goal of the century. He lit up Napoli, winning titles that made him a hero forever. He played with unmatched passion, and his name became bigger than football itself. He was rich, worshipped, and on top of the world. But after the glory came a tragic twist. When Maradona died in 2020, reports said the global icon had died with almost no money left. A man who earned millions in salaries, endorsements, and appearances, gone with barely a fortune to pass on. Fans were stunned. So how did it all go so wrong? Maradona's downfall came from wild spending, drug addiction, and bad financial decisions. He lived fast. Private jets, luxury cars, women, parties, and a massive entourage. He trusted the wrong people to manage his money. He also owed over 40 million euros in unpaid taxes to the Italian government from his Napoli days. His properties and assets were seized. His wealth slowly crumbled over time. There were no efforts to stop the damage. Legal battles followed him everywhere. In his later years, he looked like a shadow of the man fans once adored. Surrounded by controversy and health issues, Maradona's empire quietly collapsed before the world even noticed. At the time of his death, he was caught in a storm of debts and family fights. His estate remains a legal mess, with his children and lawyers battling over what little is left. Maradona's life was a mix of brilliance and chaos. His story proves that greatness on the pitch doesn't protect you from ruin off it. A legend fallen not by defenders but by his own choices.